Carl Frampton defeats Leo Santa Cruz with a 12-round majority decision to become the new WBA featherweight world champion. And that is the super version of the WBA title, for what it's worth. First and foremost, I have to say this was a very good fight, a very hard fought, and in my opinion, close, high quality contest. I felt like Carl Frampton started strongly with good boxing. I felt like he gained Santa Cruz's respect by hitting him with some hard shots early in the fight and preventing Santa Cruz from just swarming all over him. It was a much more cautious Leo Santa Cruz than we're normally used to seeing, in the early rounds at least. I was scoring the fight up until maybe the 6th or 7th round. Then I just kind of got caught up in the action and lost track of how I was scoring what. But I did have the fight, from what I can remember, even after 6 rounds. The second half of the fight, I felt Santa Cruz, for the most part, got the better of it. So my impression after 12 rounds was that Santa Cruz won a close fight. I don't have a problem with Carl Frampton getting a decision, but I do feel that the judges who scored it to Frampton, particularly one of them, scored the fight extremely wide. Now, before this fight, I was thinking that Carl Frampton, fighting in the United States, where there's a very big Mexican population, would get no favors from the judges. I was clearly wrong about that because the fight was nowhere near as wide as those judges had it. I also thought that Santa Cruz would, I've always known there is a big Irish American population on the East Coast of the United States. But even so, I expected Santa Cruz to have a bit more support than Frampton. But no, it was very much a pro Frampton crowd. And I know there's not that many Mexicans on the East Coast, but still, I thought there's got to be some. Some people surely are going to travel. But I guess boxing fans in the United States are not really as passionate, for the most part, as boxing fans in Britain and Ireland, who will travel thousands of miles to see their fighters en masse. And I'm not saying that the majority of fans supporting Carl Frampton have travelled from Ireland, but I'm telling you, a lot of them definitely would have done. So yeah, I was surprised by the very pro Frampton scoring by the judges, and I was surprised by the very pro Frampton crowd. Nonetheless, as I say, I don't have no problem with Frampton getting the decision. I'd have to watch the fight again to see how my score really was, because as I say, I kind of stopped scoring it after the halfway stage. But my impression of the second half of the fight is that Leo Santa Cruz did get the better of it. I felt like Frampton faded a little bit in the last few rounds, and Santa Cruz was just able to beat him on work rate. Frampton definitely had the better boxing skills, but we all knew that going in. Santa Cruz has never been a guy known for his boxing skills, so we knew that Frampton had the better skills. But going into the fight, I picked Santa Cruz to win this fight on points. I just felt like his work rate would be a bit much for Frampton. But I was impressed by the way Frampton was able to stifle Santa Cruz's work rate. As I say, particularly in the first half of the fight, he did a good job of, I guess, intimidating Santa Cruz to a certain extent with his punching power. There were times when Carl Frampton willingly engaged Santa Cruz on the inside. I feel like from a tactical point of view, if it was tactical, that was a mistake. I felt as though Santa Cruz got the better of most of the inside exchanges. When the fight was on the outside, I felt like Carl Frampton was getting the better of it the majority of the time. But on the inside, I thought there were very few exchanges which Carl Frampton came out on top. Even though he is a cleaner puncher than Santa Cruz, I just felt the way that Santa Cruz was positioning his body on the inside, and the subtle little moves he was making on the inside were allowing him to be more effective, allowing him to get off more shots to, for the most part, avoid Frampton shots on the inside and be more effective. And that comes from the experience that he has fighting on the inside. Leo Santa Cruz is primarily an inside fighter. It's not a common position for Carl Frampton to find himself in his fights. He likes to fight predominantly on the outside. So, yeah, I felt like he gave up his advantage a few times when he shouldn't have done. But nonetheless, the judges obviously thought Frampton did more than enough to win, 2 of them anyway, and they awarded him the fight. The third judge had it a draw. So, yeah, let me know how you scored the fight, people. Were the scores fair? Did you have Frampton winning? Did you have Santa Cruz winning? Would you like to see a rematch? It was a good fight, as I previously said. Not a classic. It wasn't like Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. It wasn't that intense. But it was definitely a good enough fight that would make you want to see a rematch. That's what I will say. It was a hell of a lot better than Frampton Quick. A hell of a lot better than that. So, yeah, good contest. And no problem with the decision, but the judges' cards a bit wide. I really think it could have gone either way. Even though the impression I had, again, like I see, I did lose track of my scoring, but the impression I had after 12 rounds is that Santa Cruz had just edged it. Let me know how you scored it, people. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about everything I've raised in this video. All right? It's your boy Hatman. I'm out.